keeping up with the Joneses like that. They have their head down in their own books, doing what they need to do.
Order filled.
They're keeping their attention on themselves. And that's not selfishness. That's focus. That's what you have to do well. And you feel dirty when you hang around the individuals that only talk smack, only talk garbage, and they don't really do anything except for exhibitionism. It's just showing you what they're doing, whether right or wrong, making fun of this one, making fun of that one. What does that got to do with trading? Like, really, what does that have to do with anything? It has nothing to do with it. But it works. It's the perfect distraction when you're in a state of mind where you just want to be distracted from the misery that you're feeling because you have not yet arrived, or you did something outside of your model. You didn't follow your own process. The thing that you sat down and said, this is what I'm going to do on this day. If price does this at this time, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to avoid doing the other thing. And I'm only going to risk X% of my equity for any one trade. When you blow that, and only you know about it, if you're weak, and there's nothing wrong with admitting that you're weak, because this is hard stuff to do, folks. It's very, very hard. It's complex. You have to beat the most formidable opponent that you'll ever meet. It's you. You're going to hold yourself back. You're going to prevent yourself from finding success as fast as you would really want to find it. It's nobody else's fault that you didn't arrive there sooner, but your own. It's just your fault. There's no escaping it in this industry. Anything that you want to try to attribute to the outcome when it's not in favorable column, the black column, all of the individuals, and I did this when I first started, when I was weak-minded, when I didn't want to own the personal responsibility of my own actions and decisions, I wanted to fault anything and anyone outside of me. I didn't want to admit that I did that wrong. I did that wrong. As soon as I started feeling that, man, that's so-and-so Ken Roberts garbage. Well, to be honest with you, I've already said before, his course was pretty stupid. But it did get my gears turning. I'm thinking, well, if I can make $1,000 a month, I could retire when I'm 40. I just got to find a way to do that. And that was my goal back in 1992. I wanted to make $1,000 a month. And if I hit that, man, I'm winning. But you're not always going to be feeling like you're on the right path. And you need to be colorblind to the outcome. That means when you put a trade on and you're trusting your model, you don't know. You don't know, folks. You do not know the outcome of your next trade. You don't. And to be quite honest with you, in the current climate setting and the way the markets are moving around, I'm not as confident as I normally was because there's so much intervention going on. A goofball makes a post about another country having to pay or not pay as much. Immediately, they're going to rip the market. He ain't doing it. He's not doing it, okay? Your favorite hated 45 and 47. You're not understanding how this really works because he isn't making the market move around. But they know at the peak of this individual's posts, it causes sentiment disruption. So whatever was going on in the markets in the state of thinking before some kind of a post gets sent to the social media, it's disrupted. That's manual intervention. They'll step in. All right, let's rip the market this direction or that direction. A lot of times it's happening as I teach, but sometimes it ain't. And admittedly, there's been opportunities where I wish I would have been awake. I wish I would have been in there doing it because it made sense to be doing that. And a few times in the last month or so, I'm thankful that I didn't even trade. I'm like, wow, that would have been a losing trade. I'm colorblind to the outcome of trades. I don't need it to be a black. I don't need it to be a small red. I don't need to avoid a red outcome. Losing trades, not worried about it. It's going to come. If I keep pushing the button, if I go in there and keep doing what it is that we do as traders, eventually it will come. But in the beginning, you want to avoid it entirely. You want to avoid the breakup. You want to avoid the divorce, and you never got married yet. It's funny how it's like we try to imagine walking on eggshells, never expecting it to ever hear a crack. It's impossible. When you're learning how to do this, you're going to lose a lot. And you need to be comfortable doing that in the beginning. You want to lose a whole lot in the beginning because that's going to teach you a whole lot about yourself. That the things that you're trying to hide from yourself, that you walk through this world with, hiding under your own skin. I'm glad these people don't really know my real self, my insecurities, the things that I'm afraid of. See, I'm not afraid to tell you those things. I'm not afraid to tell you that. I'm not afraid to weep in the presence of my own students. And I had students literally write to me in hateful emails saying, what a lunatic. Who wants to hear their mentor crying? I would love to know that the person I'm learning from has a sense of humility and vulnerability and honesty to come forward and say, this is where I hurt myself. And I don't want you to experience that either. I want to spare you all these things that I put myself through, thinking at the time this is the right way. And I know now it wasn't. It would never be the right way for anyone else's hands to try that same approach. It would never work out. So when I go through that and I tap into those old memories, those experiences, those mile markers, and in the past I have wept. I'm not ashamed of that. People used to make fun of that. Some people still do. These same people that make fun of, they don't ever have their heart into anything 100%. I lived and breathed these markets, and I needed to succeed. I didn't just want it. I had to, because I couldn't function being mundane, run of the mill, cut from the same cloth as my family. I couldn't do it. So I set out to do what I had to do and sacrificed everything. And now I know, looking back, there's a better way of having done it. I could have been a better dad. I could have been a better husband. Could have been a better friend. I could have been better to myself. But when you don't have anybody telling you how to get where I got, you got to trailblaze. And sometimes you're going to singe your clothes, burn the hairs off your arms, and you may even get sunburned ass because you ain't standing too long in one spot when you're on a trailblazing event. You're going to get burnt. But you got to keep moving forward. Scorch the earth. Find a pathway by your own experience. And that's what I did. And a lot of you have the benefit of being able to walk in that scorched path behind me now. And some of you just want to play with matches and start your own little fires along the way because you want to feel like you made something. You improved on something I taught. And this is where the ego is going to come out because none of you are going to improve on what I did. So you're wasting your time. You may want to change the name of something. You may want to say, well, I do this and do this because I was inspired by ICT. Stop. Just stop. Stop. You're doing the things that we started this conversation about. No one has asked you. No one asked me to become ICT. No one asked me to do that. And nobody's asking you to be the next version of him. Because honestly, nobody really gives a shit about me. They don't care about ICT. They don't care. 99.99999% of you only give a shit about what I'm going to say next because you either want to learn how to use it to make money and get to a point where I don't need to listen to this guy anymore. And that's exactly what I want from you. Some of you are afraid to admit it, like it's going to be offensive to me if you say that. That's exactly what I want. I want all of my students to get profitable, know exactly what they're doing, and say, au revoir, I got to go. See you later. It's been fun. It's been real. I got what I was looking for. It's not like eating and running, dining and dashing. I'm not going to chase you down the street and ask you, give me my just due. You owe me. I gave you something of value. You didn't give me anything. Think about it. I'm talking to you right now in a medium that I'm not making money on. I want you to do well. I want you to do better than you've ever imagined. But I'm not trying to inspire you to be something that you can't be. You're not going to improve on what it is I'm teaching you. And I mean that wholeheartedly because it is the market. You're going to discover something that works in your hands. But some of you just are set out to be, I just want to be a celebrity. You don't really want to be a trader. You've already tasted it. It's hard. You just want to be someone that looks like they do it well all the time. That's a trap. That is a trap. And some of you are going to fall victim to those individuals that's trying to do those things. They're going to sell mentorships. They're going to sell community access. They're going to sell courses, write books. They're all going to write books when mine come out. Trust me when I tell you that. Everybody's going to be sampling that. And that's okay. I understand that's what's going to happen. I understand that. But I'm talking to the individual that is excited. They know I'm holding that love letter in my hand. I'm ready to pass it on to you again. And everybody else in the room, even the teacher, doesn't exist. Do you remember that moment? Do you remember that moment when you knew your focus and your attention was only dialed in on what? Their hand and what they're holding. You can't wait until you get that little piece of paper in your hand. Even if the teacher asked for it, you would say, no. Send me to the office. I don't care. This is none of your business. That anticipation, that spirit of expectation, it's high. That's who I'm talking to. Because you have invested intention, time, focus, and you have a vision of yourself. And I'm just reminding you that in any relationship, every relationship, there's good times and there's bad times. And you can't go into a marriage with the marketplace and expect that you're not going to have red days. You got to be colorblind to the outcome by focusing on the process, focusing on the things that you are learning to apply as your own model. That is the thing that is the most important. It's not the opinion of others listening. It's not the opinion of what they think your trade should have been. Why didn't you hold on to it longer? It's none of your damn business. Why didn't you take this trade? It's none of your damn business. Why do you feel entitled to ask anybody why they did or didn't do anything? Nobody owes you anything. And you don't owe anybody else anything either. Wasting time on any of that stuff. Stupid. I'm turning 53. I can look back and see how I wasted a shit ton of my own personal time. Well, I wish I could get it all back, or a fraction of it. And you're out here worrying about what people are buying and driving and what they have, what they earn. Come on. Come on. You're paying attention to the other students and the teacher, what he's writing on the chalkboard, instead of waiting for that hand to reach out so you can take that love letter. Who's really focused on the right things? Where's your heart? If it's meant for you to be a good trader, you're going to work for it. If you know deep down inside, and many of you do, this ain't for you. You're dabbling. It's like watching football and thinking, man, I used to play football and sports. I was sitting on the bench most of the time, but I was a part of the team, and I should have got a chance to get in the NFL. That's not going to ever happen. It never would have happened. But you lie to yourself. A lot of you are going to never make it in this market because you're not equipped to do it. You don't really care enough to keep working for it. You want it easy. And I told you in the beginning, it ain't going to be easy. It's going to take you longer than you want. And the right outcome is you're going to learn how to do it well, and then you're not going to listen to me or anyone else. That doesn't sound natural. I want to stay in connection with you, coach. No, I don't want you to be. I don't want you to be tethered to me. You need to be colorblind. The outcomes, they're not important on an individual basis. And I just wanted to spend a couple minutes today to remind you that. That's it. We're done.